Death race is for sociopathic killers. You gotta have gravel in your guts. You have to live for the smell of motor oil and high-octane fuel. You gotta love the sound of rubber on asphalt and the taste of blood in your mouth. And when you go to sleep at night, I mean that deep REM sleep, the sound of bullets whizzing past your head should give you comfort. So, Mr. Strong and Silent, you made of that stuff.
Welcome to Now Playing Podcast's Death Race Retrospective Series.
Sure, it's violent, but that's the way we love it. Violent, violent, violent.
Hosted by Jacob.
Motherfucker's crazy, but cool.
Stuart.
You have the skills I require to keep the legend alive.
And Brock.
Whoever named your car the Bull was only half right.
But be warned, this episode will contain detailed plot spoilers and strong language.
You know what the Dalai Lama said about committees? Oh, that's right. He didn't talk about committees because he wasn't a pussy.
We hope you enjoy the show.
Sounds like the odds are stacked against us.
Then do what you do best. Drive.
Today we're talking about Death Race 3, Inferno. Starring Luke Goss, Danny Trejo, Tanit Phoenix, Fred Kohler, Robin Shue, Ving Rhames, Dougray Scott, directed by Raoul Renee. This is Brock, co-host of Now Playing.
And Stuart.
And this is the co-host who got all his movie opinions from reading the first thing that came up on Google, Jacob.
Welcome back, guys. Death Race 3, also known as Death Race, 2.5? This is an interquel.
Yeah.
You have to have watched the first movie and the second movie to know what's going on here.
Yeah, kind of like The Lion King 1.5 for anyone who's watched that.
I have seen that.
Not it. No.
Yeah, our audience, I'm sure, has seen that.
And you'll have to tell me where the title Inferno comes. I guess deserts are hot.
They're in the desert. That's the only thing I could think of. I was trying to, wondered about that as well.
Inferno, though.
You know what I thought it was? It's just, it sounds really cool. Let's just call it Inferno.
Yeah.
That's the conversation.
I mean, that's how these death race films work. Is it cool?
There is sort of we trade in names once we get to these low rent. We're embarrassed about putting the number on them. So we just start, Bloodlines, New Generation. Yes, Inferno is a Hellraiser movie, and I'm sure several other series. When in doubt, just call it Inferno.
Yeah, Dan Brown had a sequel. The third Robert Langdon book was called Inferno, I believe. It's just a very common, boring, kind of cool-looking name.
Hell. Yes, we're thinking of flames and burning and all of that stuff. And I guess it just means things are getting worse for our protagonist from last movie. Everyone's back. Worth pointing out, everyone top to bottom, director to screenwriter to most of the cast, is coming back 2 years later.
So, again, I noticed that on the poster for this, you can look at it on Wikipedia if you guys are curious, it says unrated. Is there a rated version of this?
There is.
There is, okay.
Yes. Here's the big tell. I mean, if you see like a severed head roll around, that's an additional shot. But the big additional scene, if you see Katrina taking a naked shower for like no reason, just to have some TNA, that is the unrated version.
And of course, we know the scam. Saying that there's an unrated cut teases the idea that you're going to get something more extreme. And I think anyone that comes to a movie called Death Race is hoping for something in their face. So the more unrated, the more out there. It also underlines the fact that there should be something that goes out in movie theaters. But of course, I don't know where you would have seen the rated version. This thing did not have a box office.
Maybe South Africa, where it was filmed.
Yeah.
They probably had a big premiere.
Yeah, so it should be said that the last one we talked about was filmed in South Africa. This one clearly is filmed in South Africa because they go through all sorts of plot contrivances to get to South Africa for the movie. I had a laugh when they did that because we had just talked about it on the previous podcast. It made me laugh that it was so transparent what they were doing.
And yet, I want to applaud it. Honestly, to all independent filmmakers, don't pretend Bulgaria is America. Do not pretend that when you're in South Africa, it's the, Bronx. That always seems like the thing that will smell the worst.
Toronto is not New York City.
No, it never is.
If you have been blessed with a tax-free area, you say you're set there. You know, like that's where you make and set your story. I think that's a good choice that they have made, that they are going to make a very South African movie this time around.
I'm going to have a good chuckle, and maybe you did, Stuart, when we get to some sand dunes, and I'm like, oh, that was literally snow when we watched this in Tremors, A Cold Day in Hell. At least here, they're not pretending. It is actual sand.
Yes.
The big difference, of course, in this movie, besides South Africa being the background, is the addition of one Dougray Scott, who we all will know as could have been Wolverine, right? That was his big claim to fame, right?
But let's pop the bubble, because people might feel sorry for Dougray that he was fired. Is that the right word?
I think he chose to do Mission Impossible 2. He had to choose between the two roles. He was offered Wolverine and said, that's not going to make any money. Mission Impossible is already a franchise. I'm going with that one.
I don't feel bad for him anymore if he picked Mission Impossible 2.
He made that choice.
No. I think there might even be footage. I feel like he might have put on an outfit or did a costume. All I can say is everyone at the Marvel Cinematic Universe thanks you for not doing that. What kept love for comic book movies alive was Hugh Jackman's portrayal of Wolverine. And this guy would have never, he should be Mr. Darcy in the Jane Austen adaptation. He should never put on claws and beat up people. Never.
Yeah, well, that's how I know his name. And it's one of those great Hollywood stories that if you pay attention to these sort of things, maybe the details have gotten muddy, but he did the Mission Impossible 2, and I think most people agree it's the worst Mission Impossible movie of all of them.
Other than Arnie, yes.
Yeah, other than Arnie. And Dougray Scott, he's had quite a career, pretty much like a Dermot Mulroney or a Dylan McDermott kind of career. By all means, very, very successful in a lot of different ways. He's just not Brad Pitt. That's all. He's not Hugh Jackman.
Well, he's not even Sean Bean. Ving Rhames coming back. Danny Trejo's coming back. Sean Bean can't come back because he always dies in films, but Sean Bean, that's a name. Scott, I'm sorry, that's not a name, even for a straight-to-video B-movie.
I agree. I'm not encouraged. I'm not saying I want to be here. This has gone on quite some time, quite frankly, since we've started this Death Race franchise. I'm waiting for the tank to be empty. I'm expecting this one to suck. And so anything that happens that doesn't suck, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
What a way to start. Stuart, let's pull into the starting line and give us a plot summary.
Yeah, does it suck?
Right. Well, third movie, Inferno, finds Death Race being franchised by Dougray Scott. He is playing Niles York, a billionaire who ousted CEO Ving Rhames from Wayland Industries so that his prisons throughout the world can host a 3-day contest where convicts kill each other in souped-up automobiles. And he's kicking off this new vision at his African penitentiary in the Kalahari Desert, where the course traverses cliffs and sands and shantytowns, and there are these bigger, badder dune buggies that receive no shield protection this time. You won't be able to stop all the bullets and missiles coming at you. But Ving Rhames does leave Niles with a sobering parting question. Do the folks tune in to Death Race because they love carnage, or are they wanting to see star racer Frankenstein win? And that's super relevant because the monster in the Iron Mask is one victory away from earning his freedom and walking away from incarceration. And so Niles corners Frankenstein while he's out of costume. He's Luke Goss. And he explains that he better let Robin Shaw's $14K win in the Kalahari, or he's going to kill Frankenstein and his entire pit crew. So Luke hatches a plan to defeat this new boss and escape prison and leave behind his Frankenstein alter ego, which means first he has to come clean about his true identity to his friends, the mechanic Goldberg, Mexican Jew Danny Trejo, also Liz, and his comely navigator Katrina. And the trio are all shocked that Luke didn't die in that fiery car crash from last movie, and Katrina feels particularly hurt by the deception because Luke was her lover. And so even though he's getting facial reconstruction surgery, it's going well. Luke is very doable. Once again, she won't do him. She refuses to get romantically involved, even though they're getting back into the Mustang and starting Death Race in Africa. Day one goes okay, and they narrowly miss taking a photo finish first. But tragedy strikes on day two after Frankenstein picks a fight with a gang of African warlords that were taunting them on the sidelines. And the baddies fire a rocket at the finish line. Frank is still able to cross and win, but it appears that mechanic Goldberg dies in the explosion, and everyone is very sad and wondering if Frankenstein can even finish day 3 without him. But of course he can, right? Frank has figured out all of this. He dodges a whole arsenal of weapons that are being fired at his path and maintaining the lead all through day 3. And this is really pissing off Niles York, who has been acting like a smug jerk throughout this movie, but is now throwing furniture and verbally abusing his staff. And so one of those employees handcuffs him to a desk, and he's got nowhere to run when the Mustang bursts through the control room, and Frankenstein goes off course and runs him over. And news media reports that 14K did in fact win the race, and that Niles York and Frankenstein's navigator Katrina both died in that climactic car wreck. Frankenstein is extracted bloody but alive, and he is returned to Terminal Island, where the new CEO declares that all future death races will occur. But in a twist ending I'm sure none of us saw coming, the scarred-up guy is actually Niles York. He is going to be the Frankenstein that gets killed at the beginning of the Jason Statham movie, but no one will believe him that he's the CEO that should be running the company. Meanwhile, Luke, Katrina, Goldberg slip away to a lavish life funded by Ving Rhames, and the movie ends with them toasting nerdy little lists for agreeing to stay behind, cover their tracks, and work with Ian McShane in the next film.
Yeah. Well, the movie starts with a giant recap in like a really clever way to do it, with a pay-per-view commercial, trying to catch you up for the viewer, but if you were actually in this world, it's giving you a reason to purchase the watching of this race. So I thought that was one of the cleverer ways to do a recap for those who need to catch up.
Right. This could be your first, or, you could be a devoted fan and know all about it.
On your mark, get set, kill. Love the instinct there. That's the right way to go in a death race film.
For sure.
And yeah, you could get your Frankenstein merchandise, your exclusives. We always talk about those neat popcorn buckets you could get at theaters. But yeah, you could get some kind of merch here for Frankenstein. So already Frankenstein, I guess we saw him win his first race in the last film. Here he is now the star of Death Race.
Mm-hmm. And has won some other, I guess 14K won the one in between before he got started as Frankenstein. Luke died in that race, and so that meant that someone else took the prize. But ever since then, Frankenstein has been winning, and if he wins this next one, that's it. 5 times and you're out rule. That's how it works here. The incentive for convicts to put their life on the lines and get into these deadly cars is that if you can win this race 5 times, it doesn't matter what you did, they're going to let you out.
Yeah, and Frank needs one more.
But that's all going to change, right? This company is now going under new management, and they don't play by those rules.
I thought it was strange that Ving Rhames came back to hand off the torch, if you will, to Dougray Scott, who's playing Niles York, who's doing a hostile takeover.
He wanted to get paid for a day of work. Of course he showed up to do this transaction.
Apparently.
I'm not sure he's here any longer than he was last time.
Okay, but from this point in the movie, right, obviously, as you just said in the plot summary, he comes back way at the end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here, he comes in for just this one moment, and that kind of surprised me, because as we've talked about, he's here for the geezer-teaser money, right? He's here for a paycheck, no question about it. And Dougray Scott is taking over the heavy lifting as the villain that Sean Bean did last time.
Mm-hmm.
However, doing one day, I just was surprised that at this point, I'm like, oh, he just came in for like, that's it? He's only here for that? That's really strange to me. Basically, what I'm trying to get at is, this movie surprised me because Ving Rhames comes back, and what you talked about later in the other plot things we'll get to, it was constantly surprising me with where it was going and what it was doing. I'm not saying I liked those surprises, but I am saying that because of the nature of the beast, because this is a direct-to-video and people are here just for the cash, some of the regular movie tropes of so-and-so had something else to do, or they had to replace whatever, or the contracts, things that we normally know of reasons why people are in and out, don't apply.
I'll say what you just said louder. They have actually worked very hard to make something original here. And if you are used to direct-to-videos basically just hitting cut and paste on the script and just doing everything cheaper, like last time we had a set, this time we have Tinker Toys, well, the surprise is they're going to lean into what they have and do things that they've never done before.
Yeah, to me, it's not a surprise that Waylon's going to go away or what they're going to do with him. Like, I figured that out because because, yeah, this doesn't make sense to fire Ving Rhames or have that company taken over, because franchising Death Race sounds like a great idea. Like, why wouldn't Wayland just do that unless they needed him, like, give him a revenge story or something, which they're going to kind of do by the end of this. But like you, Stuart, when they say, let's franchise this, let's do various locations, oh, we're going to get out of the prison this time, is what I'm thinking, and that's exciting.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I definitely feel like if you're going to do Death Race again, it should not be the same course, right?
Right.
The one thing that they do that's different, it can't be the same visuals. Even if you loved Terminal Island last week, you just can't do that again. And so, yeah, finding a way to put it somewhere else, I think it's clever to think that this new guy with more money says we're going to put a Death Race every 2 weeks. You know, that is what money-making thinking is. If this thing is successful now, well, just imagine if every 2 weeks, somewhere in the world, in some poor prison, people are doing this. And so, yeah, this guy, we hate Dougray Scott because he is greedy. I mean, maybe you could say that Ving Rhames is greedy, but he had other things. What I remember him saying is, prisons aren't the only thing I make money at, and maybe he's even a little bit embarrassed about that aspect of his Wayland Enterprises, but this is a guy that cares nothing about. We'll see in almost all of his behavior, he treats his employees bad, he doesn't really care about anything other than the almighty dollar, and so he is much more villainous than Ving Rhames ever was.
Right. I agree with that. I hear what you're saying, and yes, I agree that we need to have a different thing. That is one sequel trope they did maintain. Often they always change the location to have a similar story. Everything from Crocodile Dundee, they reverse the story. To Madagascar. Every series does this eventually, and this one is the right instinct. I will tell you, it's the right instinct. I don't like the plot machinations they have to do to get all the characters there. It kind of seems that it's silly that 14K, for example, goes along for the ride here. The entire Katrina comes along too. They could have put a new girl in the car with him. Like, to have the entire gang go together seems highly unlikely because they're all prisoners. You know what I mean?
But Frankenstein is the star. It makes sense to me because Frankenstein is the one we've told people want. Again, if that's the question, is do people love any Death Race, or do they just love this dude and want to see this race because he'll finally earn his freedom?
No, I understand that, but Frankenstein, as they said 1,000 times in this movie, in the last one, can be anybody in that mask. Theoretically speaking, it could have been some South African prisoner being Frankenstein instead of flying him and Goldberg in lists down there. But since they want this particular guy, I understand Goldberg in lists going, but everybody else...
Look, if you want me to have to come up with a reason why 14K is there, this is the premiere of the expansion of Death Race. You want big drivers there. 14K has won. I honestly don't care, though. I don't need this kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, 14K, I like him now because I've sat through him in 2 other films that I kind of liked as well. So, like, it's part 3 of a straight-to-video franchise. It's got to be comfort food. Like, that, just please be comfort food. That's all I want it to be. So that 14K is here. Yeah, it's kind of stupid, but I just go with it.
Yeah, I'm calling it out as stupid is what I'm trying to do now, and I'm giving it to the movie. Because, yes, we want our characters. We're going to have plenty of new characters, no question. We need some foundation for us to understand what we're doing here before they go off into the new territory.
Yeah, and they could. I mean, I've always been thinking, why are we holding on to Luke Goss? Why does fake Sean Bean, Dougray Scott, feel like... he has to, like, threaten this guy the way that he does when, yeah, anyone can wear the mask. Maybe we're underselling the fact that this guy's a good driver. That what people like about Frankenstein is not just literally the mask, but that guy in that mask can drive really well. So maybe that's a factor.
Yeah, Stuart, I don't know, I kind of feel like you're coming around to how I just buy into Jason Statham as a driver, because even with this film, like, come on, you got to admit, we will never know why Frankenstein's popular. We are just told that maybe he's a great driver. We never see why the people embrace him. We saw why the people embrace Luke, but then he became Frankenstein. They didn't know they were related. Like, they'll never really, like, tell us what is so great about Frankenstein. And that's why I just buy him on a Hulk Hogan WWE level. Like, he's the most popular, so you got to keep him around.
Or not. Again, this is the test. But what I hear being said in the back room is we want our hero to lose, which to me, I mean, that's probably going to make him lose popularity either way. Either he wins and he leaves the race, or he loses and people stop being such a big fan of him, right? They go with the new winner. So either way, it feels like Frankenstein's days are numbered. But yes, they contrive that this is all done under threat. And I guess I didn't realize that his pit crew didn't know that this is going to shock them, that the man they saw burn turn up on day 2 of Death Race a couple years ago is now, quite alive, and the silent guy that's wearing the iron mask.
But last time, also, if you remember, Katrina says something about, do you have a name or something? Remember that little exchange that kind of made a nod that she knows it's him underneath that mask.
And now how many years later is this? Because he's got 4 wins now. Like, if this was an annual race, like, she's been around him a while, to all these over melodramatics about, him hiding his identity and how Danny Trejo is so hurt about that. Like, to me, this stuff is laughable. I'm like, I get what you're doing. You got to do this. But this is a B straight to video movie. Like, none of you actors have these chops. But like, let's get through the scene. You're all sad. You feel betrayed. You're going to play that up for tension later, whatever.
Yeah, and then also here, they also go into lots of hoops and tricks. So he has his face back too, with all sorts of like different prosthetics through different stages until he's back to his normal face, so he doesn't have to worry about, and the budget doesn't have to worry about.
It's because of the budget,
him being all made up the whole time, kind of like the Back to the Future 2 when Christopher Lloyd has that facial lift thing at the beginning, so he doesn't have to run around for 2 sequels in old man makeup. It's just something they can do here to make everybody easier. It completely works, but again, after they get all of this business done, they get themselves to South Africa, the crew knows it's him, he has a facelift, blah, 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 then we get into the movie, and they do it I have to give them a compliment. They do that in 15 minutes, in and out, boom, boom, like they really knock all this crap out quick to get us into Death Race 3's plot.
And how beautiful is South Africa? I mean, these shots will take your breath away when we actually see the countryside. When I see people walking hyenas on chain leashes and all of this, I love this prison. This is the best prison we've ever had. Better than any of the other movies.
I think I've made it clear I'm an easy lay for post-apocalypse Mad Max style stuff. So if you have hyenas being kept as pets, again, I'm already like 20% in just because of that.
Yeah, for sure. And the cars. I mean, because they are going to be traveling in sand, we can't just put a Mustang out there. They're going to do things, and I'm no, exhibit, but they're going to pimp these rides in ways that they're still the classic cars. I can recognize that, but they are now on new hydraulics, and they have different tires, and they're really going to go on real desert terrain that makes it so fun to see.
Yeah, I'll say if you want the cars to be a big thing where they stick out or all the different colorful drivers, I think this one does really bad at that. There's going to be like drivers dying that I'm like, who are they? And one of these drivers has it almost looks like a big flatbed truck with a big old turret on the back of it, and seeing that thing having to navigate the dunes. There's a lot of fun. Even though I don't remember these cars, there's a lot of great car action going on.
Yes, I agree. The car action is good. I had trouble distinguishing the cars as well. I had to write them down, and I had to pause the movie a few times to make sure I was following who was who at the beginning here, once we started getting introduced to people. But once the racing happened, I was just, as always, just enjoying the racing.
It'll take them a while to enjoy the racing. One thing that the last movie did, budget cutting though it may be, is why don't we just have them fist fight? Why don't we just have people not in cars? Because, that's kind of expensive. We'll save that for the end. Here, we do a lot of setup, and one of them is Navigator Wars. The idea is, last time it was kind of enjoyable watching 16 guys fight over 10 cars. Now we have 16 girls fighting to be in the 10 cars.
Yeah, this is the same plot beat they're repeating from last time. It's just, they just switched it up for the Navigators for the same reasons. I saw right through them and why they were doing it. And unfortunately, the director, for all the great, beautiful shots of South Africa, and he knows how to shoot a race, still has no idea how to shoot a fist fight. The opening's fist fight in the prison, and this one too, the choreography and the editing was just really hard.
One, I get why you have the Navigators fight. Women in prison, that is a whole sexy thing that dudes who want to watch this film would want to see. So,
yes.
Absolutely.
Good instinct. I agree with you, Brock. I'll disagree with you on that first fight when Frankenstein gets into it. I'm like, this is an improvement over that last film. That one was really bad. I'm like, this is marginally better. But when we get to this Navigator fight, talk about Michael Bay editing where you're just skipping action. You don't even see a girl wind up to do a kick. You just see her foot against the person's head. I'm like, I guess she threw a kick because that's what the edit is telling me, but I hate this action scene.
It's hilarious because I don't think Katrina moves.
No.
I think people are moving around her
yes.
and handing her the flamethrower and being like, okay, now you've got, but she herself does not engage. She might lift her leg in a kicking motion. But yes, a lot of this is, you could blame the fight choreography or, the directing maybe, or maybe they picked these women not because they had fighting skills, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that those were the assets they were looking for when they picked them.
Right.
Right. We want to see hot women of a certain standard, and whether they can actually throw a punch or not, the fun is we're going to do this. And maybe it's fun. It's certainly exploitation.
And what I wish they would do to have a little bit more fun, I feel like going back to Death Race 2000, what gets me so into that film is the beginning. That's so fun. Here's the cowgirl, and here's Machine Gun Joe, and all these colorful characters. I'm like, oh, this is a fun universe. They start talking about like twin sisters and this psycho killer. I'm like, I want to like just give me the visuals. I want to be able to track each of these, because to me that would be fun, having these colorful female psychopaths killing each other. And yeah, to me this fight was a major letdown. I'm like, I get it. This is why you have the Navigators fight, but just the worst execution.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what you're really talking about. There's 11 cars, which means 22 people.
Too many.
To keep track of. How on earth, right? Like, there's just no way. And even if you have colorful costuming and all, and freeze framing, as I am doing, I'm stopping and trying to write names and who's in whose car and what car they're in. This movie organically is not going to give you that information. If you want to slow down and take that all in, if it's fun for you to see the pairings, they mostly work like dollhouses. Like, okay, this is the match that they put up, but we won't really understand as characterizations who's in whose car. Maybe a couple of them. For the most part, we will only know about Luke and Katrina, and the other ones, yeah, when they attack Luke and Katrina, that's when I notice them. But one flourish seems taken straight out of Carpenter's Escape from New York. They're all chipped. None of them can escape. This is not a prison where there are walls. So there will be no plan to, punch a hole through a wall and drive through. If they go off course, it will be known. They have that tracker in the back of their neck, and they will fire missiles. That is, I think, a fun new detail.
Yeah, I don't think they don't have walls in this prison. I don't think they chip everyone, but because of this race is going to take them onto the streets and through the towns and all of that. Yeah, I love that reveal. Like, you get this big, long techno jargon term for whatever kind of missile system that is. Just cut to it. Like, I'm like, okay, that's fun. You're going to send a heat-seeking missile after them.
Mm-hmm. We see that from the get-go. Before the race even starts, there's a guy called Jackal that just kind of jumps the race. Like, he just doesn't wait for the green light, and, they're merciless. I think that's a good way to get the race started. Kill someone before you even get started to show that, yes, this will be, I hear you saying too many, but it also means there'll be more death, right?
Right.
Agreed.
If you only had 5 people in the original Corpsmen, well, you can't have the kill ratio that makes it a splatter time. Well, that's why they killed pedestrians instead of each other. Now, it's not really about killing pedestrians in this reboot universe. You want to kill off the drivers fast and furious, excuse the pun.
Yeah, and I'm just saying that's a different expectation. Going back to Death Race 2000 versus 2008, the Statham one, I could like them, but I enjoy them in different ways. One is just much more action-driven. Yeah, you set up all these kills. If you come into Death Race for the colorful cars, you're not going to get that. If you're coming for the colorful kills, you might like this. And I like that the host for this race, Satana, who my computer kept changing to Santana, but it was not the guitar player hosting this, it was Satana.
Wouldn't that have been fun, though?
That would have been kind of neat, actually. I like that.
Dougray sexually assaulting Carlos Santana would have been something.
I also want to mirror what we already said, too, is like killing the guy with the missile, having the missile lurking over all the rest of these guys, doing it up front, again, is the right instinct. So the people who are making this and writing this understand what they have to do and why they have to do it that way. They're trying to make lemonade out of what may or may not be hindrances for what they want to do. And I think it's a great idea to do it right away, because if we had to wait to the end of the movie for someone to try to escape and get hit by a missile, it would have been very unsatisfactory. This was a really great way to show us no one is safe, and it's a different death race, and what the consequences really would be. So again, I'm on board so far. I'm giving the movie all these chances and acknowledging that they're doing a lot more right for a third sequel.
Again, I'll be more blunt. I was expecting to hate this movie, and I'm impressed with everything that they're doing. I'm shocked at how much I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I like that they're changing this up. You mentioned in your plot summary, they're taking away the shields. Even the way you activate your weapons now, you got to go through it. It's not a thing you go over, because there'll be like just 2 swords sticking up out of the sand. So
right,
it's different enough. We're on a different location, a different course, some new rule, enough variations for this cheap, junky film to, be keeping my interest. And I'm kind of surprised. I was a little optimistic seeing that I liked that last one and all 3 of us recommended it, but it was a very low level of optimism. and so far it's kind of paying off.
Agreed. Yeah, and just to preview my thoughts, I feel like that remains. I don't feel like the bottom falls out of this buggy. I feel like this thing, just to sum it all up, this thing knows what it can and can't do and will stay within the lines. It doesn't try to go for scenes that it can't pull off, and it will more or less deliver, starting here with stage 1, driving sequences that are fun to watch. I like watching cars driving up hills and overturning.
Yeah, and they've kept those practical stunts, the flips, the crashes, the explosions. Every once in a while, it looks like they were CG enhanced, but like a lot of real fire going on. Again, I'm an easy lay. This is really all I would need from this kind of film.
Yeah, I hear that that's what this is about. I mean, maybe you could call the first couple social satires. I mean, Air Misted on. I hardly think they need to be studied, but we get it. But yes, maybe they say something about Vietnam or Trump America. But yes, that's not why we're here.
No.
We're here because secretly we just want to watch things be run over, watch as practical as possible. Yeah, the real cars do the real stunts. And then, yeah, if it's CGI splatter, but give us some death in the race. And I do feel like, yeah, almost instantaneously people are dying, they're blowing up. And if you don't know their name, don't worry about that part.
Yes. One of the early kills in this is, again, I think it's that big old truck. It like goes off a ramp or something and lands on the cameraman and just like takes him out, splatters. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, yeah, you got it. You get what you do in a death race film. You understand it.
Yeah, Nero makes the point of wanting to kill one of the cameramen at the starting line. And so, yes, they're not supposed to do that. That was the old movie, right? You run over pedestrians in the other one. Here, this is just literally a race. And, you know, maybe you kill each other as you're trying to get to the race. What I want to know is there's this guy named Pretty Boy that at one point he overturns. They're going through a township and he overturns and everyone passes him by. There's no one to run him over. His car is not functioning. What is he supposed to do? Like,
Just wait for the cops to come pick him up, I think.
Okay, because, I mean, they just decided to fire missiles at the poor guy, and I'm like, maybe he just is trying to get back to them.
I don't think he was, Stuart.
Maybe not. Yeah, he's doing some parkour. He's running over the rooftops.
Right.
I don't think he thinks he can run across the Kalahari Desert on foot, but maybe he's not in his right mind. He is, after all, in shock. His car is totaled, and so we get another missile attack. A poor guy that just has no way of continuing the race now just needs to be picked off.
I will say, as we're going through this shanty town, and like they have these wide shots, which had to be stock footage that like looked great, but we're not going to get some like police story, bad boy scene where we drive all through them and over them, which would be awesome, but that's way too expensive for this.
I thought District 9 stock footage is what I thought.
Yes. Okay, that makes sense. I did think District 9 throughout this film.
Yeah.
But I thought because we're going out, we're driving through these towns, that maybe we would get to see some civilian kills and they'd come up with ideas like, oh, we should give them points. I thought we would see that evolution for as much as they are driving through towns in this race, but that does not happen.
Well, you say that, but the germ of that is planted on day one. We do see that the course basically goes like this. They start at an airfield and then they kind of like move into the road part, and then they get to a town, and then eventually they get into an area controlled by warlords, and who are watching this with like a rabbit ears television. It's kind of funny.
This is where I was thinking District 9, where you had those warlords that would go after the aliens and get their tech.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is on the internet, right? I don't know that you could air that. I mean, what do I know? Maybe they've figured out a way to jerry-rig old TVs to play streams of internet. But the point is, Luke, I don't think we see him in the early scenes targeting anyone. Someone comes after him, and he swerves out of the way, and they die hitting a hill and explode. But he is not bloodthirsty. I don't see him making kill moves. But when he passes those warlords and starts listing all the bad things that those guys do, I do think it's a reason why he shoots first the next day. When we get to day 2, we will see him pick that fight. But that feels like a noble fight. That doesn't feel like a bloodthirsty, I'm killing you for points. That feels more like I'm a good guy and you guys are human traffickers.
Exactly. I think in the last film, Luke, it feels like is just stuck in this prison forever. You can make him a cop killer. He doesn't have to be too redeemable. I think if you are going to have him escape and go to the free world, then I don't know, maybe you want to have him redeem himself somehow. So yeah, he's going to go after these warlords eventually. But yeah, you see him in this first race, he does hesitate. Maybe that's why he got second place, is because he wanted to turn back and go after them.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because, he has been directed not to win. Did he come in second because that was the instruction, or because Razor's pretty good? I think they established early on Razor is the one to look out for. He does kill another Tasmanian devil, blink and you miss him, but he seems to be killing more of the drivers, and he is the one that beats Luke to the finish line. And even though he's declared the winner, he's going to grab a knife and come at the guy in the machine shop. I'm not even sure why.
So we could establish this nurse character?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. They can establish the nurse character.
Which I thought was just going to be a blowjob joke, but apparently, this is setting up mechanizations for the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was really surprising to me, that she is basically the linchpin of this entire scam.
Mm-hmm.
Is this woman who just gave him a blowjob when she first met him. It was remarkable. I'm like, wow, okay, I didn't realize that.
I mean, she is a fan of Goldberg, apparently.
Clearly.
Yeah, let's be clear. He comes to stab Frankenstein. He ends up getting Trejo in the arm. And even though List is worried and listing all the people that have ever been stabbed, including Elliott Smith, I did not know that. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. That was a shock, too. That stood out to me.
Yeah, that one, like Caesar I knew, but Elliott Smith, the singer, I did not know that. I'll have to look into that. Anyway, the point is, yes, you could just say exploitation film, time for some sex. Danny Trejo, of all people, is going to get a BJ here. But it's more important than you think. And to circle back to, I think, what you were saying, Brock, right from the get-go.
I mean, blowjobs are always pretty important.
I mean, yeah.
They do things that will surprise you. It's not surprising that a movie like this has a blowjob scene.
No.
It's surprising that this blowjob scene is central to setting up characters.
It's Chekhov's blowjob scene.
That's a pivotal blowjob. It's it's necessary.
Yeah.
Nurses can switch out trackers is all that I'm going to say right now. But yes, she is a big fan of Goldberg, not Frankenstein.
Yeah, even the pit crews have fans.
That's funny. I don't know. Who loves Lists? We don't meet any fans of him. He gets no blowjobs.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, no blowjobs for Lists. But yes, Trejo, maybe it was in his contract. He's a big enough star in this movie, he could ask for it. And
he has that blowjob writer in his contract. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's kind of getting late. This is the moment where we're just dealing with the sexual politics in between the races. We also have this moment where, okay, Katrina's in a huff. She tells Frankenstein when she leaves the car, we'll never be, or I should say she's telling Luke, we'll never be who we are. I'm just going to treat you as a professional. You are my driver. I'm the navigator. But boy, does she look pissed when a rival navigator is sent to Luke for the nightly entertainment.
Did you read this as a love story? Like, when you watch Death Race 2, you're like, yeah, Luke and Katrina really need to get together.
Mm-hmm.
This cracks me up that I'm supposed to be emotionally invested in Katrina's feelings for Luke, and will they or won't they? Because cut all this. I am shocked that these films are 30 seconds over 90 minutes. This should be an 82-minute film. It's an hour and 45. Like, cut all this. Like, who cares?
No. I believe it. With every butt thrust in the last movie, I believe his love for her. I totally saw it. I mean, I really saw it.
I agree. This whole jealousy thing is just, I don't care. Like, they're going to get together at the end. I don't care that she's jealous now. She's also the one who pushed him aside earlier because she was mad at him, and now she's coming around because someone else is stepping in.
I mean, Goldberg says there's 3 things to watch out for, and she's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All I keep thinking is, if it's supposed to be sexy, that half his, cell is flooded in water, I'm just thinking about all the bacteria.
Gross.
The smell.
You do not want to get knocking boots in that cell. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about, staph infections. It's bad.
The water's not moving at all. It's still dirty water. It's going to reek in there like a swamp. And he's also a sweaty guy. Yeah, you don't need that. No, forget it. No.
Yeah. It was somebody's idea of a cool music video sex scene that, again, is eclipsed. We will find out Luke rejects Amber. He does not want to be with anyone but Katrina. But come on, this is all tongue-in-cheek. I mean, I don't think we're supposed to care, but I think we're supposed to understand we're in an exploitation movie, and they're going to work in reasons why Katrina is going to cool off naked in the shower. I guess that's the unrated cut.
I mean, she's just taking a shower. She could have just taken a shower at any time, and they could have shown us it.
Yeah. But these are plot motivated. See how much better it is when you have plot motivation?
It's not porn because it's so motivated by the plot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the cleansing shower of her mind and body.
It's very symbolic.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Totally.
And don't forget that Satana is also getting some, like almost from the get-go, we see Dougray like blowing in there, grabbing her and, putting his tongue down her. Every time someone dies on the track, he's getting aroused.
He's got a banger, yeah.
Yeah. And he ends up kicking people out of the room and they're like, I'm just going to do you right here in the control room. She's up for it because she's trying to get a job, right? You're doing this all over the world. I want to be, I don't know, is she a producer? Is she an announcer? I'm not sure.
Yes, she's the producer and host of the show.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. She at least had one scene, I know, during Navigator Wars where she was talking into a mic, telling the viewing public what was going on. She, I think quite fairly is trying to get paid and get that job. And he scoffs at it. Again, he's only going to use her and throw away later. She's going to read on his phone that he's going with other people. And you can laugh that it's unnecessary that we've had all this making out, but he's making enemies.
Oh, no, there's payoff for all of this, even for his assistant, Prudence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I see what you're doing with that name. I get it. She's disapproving of your sex.
Yep.
I know she's going to come back. She's going to be like running the company at the end was what I thought.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
But he treats her like crap. I don't know why she would even be working for him.
Well, I worked in Hollywood. I've seen a lot of good people work for bad people. Yeah, I mean, you just suck it up and hope one day you can jump ship and meet the people that aren't going to abuse you. And yeah, she does. It pays out. There is a happy ending. I guess I figured it would follow the formula, and obviously it is following the formula. If you think about the last couple movies, the first one is about killing off people. The second day is about tragedy. Something goes wrong and it changes everything. And then the third day is about giving up on the race and just escaping. That seems to be how they want to structure this thing. Well, let's talk about the tragic day 2, where we're ready to roll into the next part of Death Race. We're going to lose someone. Starting with Olga Braun, who I guess is a play on Ava Braun.
Right.
That's their only female racer.
Yeah, so Olga's the first one to get it. She gets airborne, and then she gets out of the car, and then she does something smart. Like, she beats the other driver who's set to run her down, but then she gets it in the end because Razor just runs her over. Frankenstein jumps over her. I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
That was a pretty cool moment. I like that.
Again, it establishes who we are. Like, Frankenstein could have killed her, but he's not about that. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. He's in a different kind of race than these other drivers who are enjoying it.
Unless they're the main antagonist, then he wants to hurt them.
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't even think he's after Razor. Does Razor even die in this movie? Razor came at him with a knife after day 1, and I don't think that he ever pays for that.
Yeah, 14K is going to help him. 14K is going to fulfill his life debt to Frankenstein.
No, I know, but I don't think Razor ever pays for being an asshole. I don't think he dies. I think he crosses the finish line just in second. Yeah, it gets dropped. How about that? We're not even sure. They don't make a point of making Razor so bad that you're cheering when he dies. I don't think he does die. But we do have Nero get it next. This was kind of fun. Day 1, they go through a village and everybody's holding up signs saying, we love you, racers. And then the day 2, they're like, we hate you, racers. And Nero, I think 14K drives him off the road, but he ends up colliding into somebody's house, and they're having none of it. They pull him out of that vehicle, and they beat him dead and carry his carcass through the streets.
And the Navigator, too. Like, they just pulled them both out.
Mm-hmm. Right, the woman, too. Yeah, that was amazing.
Along for the ride, and she just gets taken along for it. And then, of course, the big thing, right? Goldberg gets blasted, right? He gets hurt, and he's presumed dead, right?
Yeah, and it all starts because Frank decides to go after those warlords this time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. That's what I was saying, is that he makes a point of saying these guys are bad, I think, because he wants them to stop trafficking human beings. But again, I never credit Luke Goss.
There's a plan.
For all of his intelligence and all that he's got juggling here. I mean, I'm saying that without irony. I actually don't anticipate. I believe them when they kill off Danny Trejo. I feel like last time Luke Goss really burned up.
Yeah, his day was up. He had fulfilled his contract. Get him out of here.
And we need to have Ian McShane there in the next movie.
Yes,
if they're filling this in before, then you need Ian McShane there. So, yeah, why not kill him off?
Yeah, I believe it. When the warlords come for him, and they have that one great shot where 2 guys end up jumping into the lake or whatever, and the other ones fire the missile. Yeah, it's a lot of rapid cutting throughout this movie. I can't track where the missile went. It looks like Goldberg died.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after that, when when Luke is upset, if we didn't have enough Fast and Furious moments, he says that Goldberg was family, and I laughed my head off.
He was family. I wrote that down because, yeah, by this time, Fast and Furious was a thing. We talked about before, like, it was after Tokyo Drift. Like, it wasn't a franchise, and now it's a franchise.
Oh, absolutely. And can I also just throw out something here? As someone that was desperately trying to keep track of who was alive and who was in the lead and all of that, they have someone called Baby.
I heard the name.
That is never on the list. Never on the list. I never see an actor. They're not in the credits. But there's an 11th driver named Baby. Did anybody see this? Is like, where's Waldo? Where's Baby?
I do think there are things that just were like left in here that were supposed to be cut out. At one point, Satana mentions like how the race is going to be over the next day. I'm like, well, we've only done one day of racing. I'm like, oh, this scene must have come later. And they just put it here and who cares?
Yeah. People had different versions of the script. I do think, again, if 16 girls killed down to 10, where's the 11th navigator? I think what might have happened is that they filmed 11 cars at one point and then realized, oops, and tried to slip in a baby where there's no baby. But again, I point this out for shits and giggles. It's not a problem. That this movie is rough around the edges, no shit. What are you going to do? It's Death Race 3.
Well, I got to ask you, Stuart, is it because it's Death Race 3 that you're having a good time? Because I don't know how much the quality has changed since Jason Statham, which you really disliked, maybe because that was a real film. It was a problem, but
yes.
Is it just this is Inferno, so who cares?
Yes, I think that the format matters. If you go and watch a community play and they're just kind of bad, but not real bad, yay, success, right? Like,
right.
You go to Broadway and you get that performance, fuck you, I'm throwing tomatoes. Yeah, you told me with Jason Statham, this was a franchise worthy of Tom Cruise and all this money, and no, it's a cheesy exploitation flick.
Which they've all been.
The cheaper you make it, the more honest it is. That is what I'm finding, is that these direct-to-streaming sequels are more true to the spirit than the pretensions of Statham's movie.
And maybe 2050 was too close to that spirit, but yeah, I get what you're saying, is that, are there cool cars crashing? Is that your focus? For me, that's my focus, and so yeah, I'm enjoying this, because even though I got a lot of story problems, I think this movie's kind of dumb, or maybe really dumb, but I'm still having a fun time throughout it.
I think my expectations were higher for this one after hiking the last one so much. And it's kind of reminding me of Lethal Weapon 3.
Ooh, I don't want to go there.
I understand you guys really destroyed that one on the podcast, but what I'm getting at is when that came out, it was more of the same, or at least it kind of seemed like it was more of the same. I was like 16 years old and I enjoyed Lethal Weapon 2 so much, and I was willing to go along with the stuff that didn't really get me where I needed to go, but they were trying to recreate which made the last one so special. They're trying to bring that magic back. And this one is doing the exact same thing here. It's doing everything they can to make it a little bit different, but it's trying to make the same kind of movie. And last time it was such a breath of fresh air and surprisingly good, but here with the different plot issues and the story issues and their acting is not where it needs to be. Yes, the crashes are good. Yes, the money's being spent on explosions and stunts. Yes, there are a lot of good things that are still going on here, but the difference between last time and this time, I think, which is giving me a little bit more trouble getting into it and enjoying it as much as you two are, is the expectation. Is that last time I was so surprised that this time I feel disappointed.
Okay, so I just want to dial in just a little bit more because I'll just go ahead and spoil.
Sure.
To me, this is the best of the bunch. I don't think I've seen a better Death Race movie.
Okay, I'm not going to go that far, so...
I disagree with that, but okay.
I'm wondering what you want that you're not getting.
Yeah, I wonder too, Stuart, because it's not here. This is where I starts to lose me. That Danny Trejo's death, and after he says he was family, and I laugh out loud, and that's the last fun I have. The rest of the movie, for me, is a bunch of eye rolls and a bunch of, oh, I see, oh, I get it, they're trying to be clever. This screenwriter thinks he's really clever here. I see what he's trying to do. I'm not able to give them any more free passes for what this movie thinks it is. That's all. From here on out is where I start to turn on the movie.
Day 3.
Day 3. Now, look, I'm going to be very honest. It could have been 10 times worse. I'm just not willing to finish off my drink. I'm going to put my drink down and say, okay, I liked it up to that certain point, but I'm having trouble wanting to finish this up. That's where I'm at.
And Jacob, is that similar to your experience?
No, I'm into it. Like, to me, this is a way junkier film. Like, it's got way more just mechanical problems as a movie than the last one. But to me, that's kind of a charm, and I'm laughing, and I'm having fun with the adrenalizing stuff that I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I recognize this is trash, but it's trash that I like.
It's trash.
It has never not been trash.
Yeah.
I just want to really reiterate, this series has never been good. It has never been good.
No.
Right.
The fights have always been shitty. The editing has always been rough. And here, I know exactly the kind of movie that they're delivering and think they're delivering it. I mean, what I wonder is, are we just tired of watching straight-to-tape shit? I mean, I'll be honest, this is supposed to be my fix until I get Furiosa, but we all know that this is, the trailer for Furiosa is better than anything that we're seeing here. So obviously, it's a cheap high. What I'm saying is, I know that this is not going to last me very long and that I just need to get to the end of May.
Yeah, here's the thing. The last time I got a Furiosa was 2015, almost 10 years ago. I got to have a fix in between. And so, yes, these junky films, at least for me, give me that fix. They hold me over.
Yeah, I get it. I get everything you're saying. Yeah, I'm not coming in this to think I'm seeing a great movie. I'm just not enjoying this one as much as I enjoyed the last one. I'm not able to go along with it as far as you guys are because it also feels like it's warmed over leftovers, honestly. I mean, they try to do so many other things that make it look like, hey, it's new, it's different, new place, new thing. And it's the same thing, just reheated. So...
Well, I mean, such the nature of, maybe that's just having spent decades now on Now Playing.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the nature of sequels, and so when something can actually do it, what you're calling trying to be clever, I'll actually just call clever. I think that this last act is a fun bit of Ocean's 11 Mirage.
That was my notes.
Which is not to say that it is as good. Again, if your expectation is that straight to tape be as good as straight to IMAX...
No, I understand.
You will never be happy.
Never be happy at all. But I'm going to take your Ocean's 11 switch and say they tagged on the Dark Knight Rises at the end. When they're all happy at the cafe with Catwoman and Alfred's there waving to Bruce at the end of the cafe. Everyone gets away with it. And the two of those things combined, and it's a giant pill to swallow. Is it fun?
I might actually like this movie more than Dark Knight Rises. But
You did not like that one.
I recommended it, but I might not
You did?
do that now. I think...
You're like, that's Nolan's worst film, according to you.
It has not aged well, and I have not watched it again, so...
I have not watched it again either for years. Anyway, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the end of Dark Knight Rises, and I was thinking Ocean's 11.
Anyway, before we get to that, let's just kind of knock out where we're going. I mean, again, they're on a cool Red Rock road that is twisty and fun, and there is some irony that we have this character named Psycho, who has, not really been that funny, but trying to change the radio station from rap to techno and grabbing boobs of his navigator. And the joke is that he dies inches away from the lake, that he escapes his car, but the flames find him, and he just can't put out the Inferno. There's the title.
There you go.
It's not a great joke, but I appreciate that they're trying. They're stretching. They realize, we should put something funny here. Maybe not the best punchline, but a solid B for effort.
Yeah, I'm more pleased by 14K, who has been a character I have not really cared about at all. Nor did I like Robin Shaw in Mortal Kombat. But, yes, they saw the Fast and Furious movies. They know that it's about, enemies suddenly being frenemies at certain races. And so they contrived this thing where Dougray Scott is firing missiles to kill only, I believe, Luke. But because Luke did that thing, I thought he paid him back by killing Sean Bean.
Many years ago, they've had multiple races since then to pay him back.
But he does another payback here. I thought it was cool. It's, dare I say fist pumping, but there's something fun about watching Robin Shaw fire his own missiles as counter defense and protecting the front runner from falling to a rigged game.
He says fire the countermeasures, but we were told earlier there are no defense weapons. So the countermeasures are actually offensive weapons that he's using as defensive weapons, because he says to his navigator, fire off the countermeasures, like you do in a dogfight, right? Why does he have countermeasures and nobody else has countermeasures?
No, they have weapons. They hit the swords.
I just took it as those are his missiles, and this is working like a heat-seeking missile to throw it off.
Right.
Because there's more things.
He should be blowing up Luke.
Yeah.
But instead, he's blowing up the missiles coming for Luke.
I understand. I watched the two. The word countermeasures kind of put me for a spin. I'm like, really? Okay. It's not Top Gun.
And then even better, like when they radio each other and they're talking, he says, we're even now, Lucas. So he knows that that's not Frankenstein. Again, I like that little moment of just like, you see, they aren't fools. They know that this guy riding around in the iron mask that just showed up one day is the same one that burnt up at that other race. Maybe they know because his mask got knocked off during that fight. But I like the fact that he was able to acknowledge Frankenstein as a former friend. It was Lucas that had saved him.
I thought that was just a mistake because, again, going throughout this film, they at one point they're like, oh, you can now subscribe to cameras in their cars. I'm like, oh, so this is going to be a big deal about Frankenstein not having his mask. Nope, that's not in the film here. So I just thought this was another goof. Maybe that was a subplot, like where that did happen, and that's how 14K found out.
Yeah.
14K owed a debt to Lucas. He owed nothing to Frankenstein. So for him to say, now we're even, is to acknowledge, I've known your secret all this time. Again, I just thought that's a cool little move in a movie. That's two enemies passing in the night, giving each other a head nod, acknowledging each other's cool.
Okay. I'm loving that you like it. That makes me happy. It's playing to you, and that's wonderful. I didn't care for that twist at the end here, but it makes complete sense for the movie we're watching.
I'm wondering if you have an understanding as to why you've shut down.
Yeah, I'm having trouble swallowing every beat that keeps coming now.
Yeah.
It just seems like it's not the movie that we have been watching so far. This is not the series that does this sort of thing. There's been a surprise at the end of the other two movies, but 14K knowing who he is, the countermeasures thing, this whole plan at the end now, it kind of like feels like they're trying to play in a league that they're not members of. They're AA ball, and they're trying to play in the major leagues.
And for me, I see this all coming, like when Satana's got to like make a call after she gets screwed by York. I'm like, okay, she's probably going to call Waylon. I'm like, there's a whole plot here. I didn't call Danny Trejo. Like that did catch me by surprise, but
agreed.
To me, they're not smarter than they think they are. To me, they're like, we're stretching. We're trying to like do something clever. We're trying to do something entertainment. We know you're here for the car crashes, but yeah, we got to have these little twists because it's not just a demolition derby. It's a sci-fi dystopian film about escaping this prison.
Right. Again, day 3 has to be about escaping, not just, winning. Like, it's not about the race. You have to make it about different stakes. I mean, I said it in my plot summary. We all know that when Frankenstein decides not to cross the finish line, but instead turn his car and go into the control room, that when the media is saying that he's alive and being pulled out of there, I'm laughing because they finally contrived a way to explain why we'd be cheering about the guy at the beginning of the Statham movie dying. Like, that's the thing that they've got to hook into, right? Like, the fact of the matter is, you can't have Luke Goss be the guy that dies at the beginning of Statham's Death Race 2008. You have to give him a different ending so that they're going to punish the villain by finding a way to make him that Frankenstein. I think it's delightful. I think that's fun.
I mean, I get the irony. It's fun. I don't understand why Niles all of a sudden is like, I am Frankenstein. I will have my revenge. I'm like, why are you like a superhero now? Like, tone it down a little. You've gone through a traumatic event. I get the irony. I don't get his enthusiasm at the end, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I wonder if these people thought that they might get a sequel the next year.
They had to.
Yeah, and maybe we can actually make that movie. We will get a 4th one, and it will come from this screenwriter, but many years later. Well, I mean, we'll discuss it next week, but this is the end of the interquel. The Luke Goss storyline is done.
It should be said, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but Joan Allen is the warden now. They have her superimposed on a teleprompter in the background once Prudence takes over, and we get the shot of Ian McShane as coach being brought in, but she is back there.
Well, they have a picture of McShane like they had a picture of Joan Allen last time, but this time they cleverly hid her face.
Yeah.
But they totally implied it was her on the screen, but they did not show her face, so they did not have to pay her.
Oh, yeah, right, exactly. That's exactly,
right.
Yes, believe me, agents were consulted. We don't want this to get...
How much of the face can we show?
Yeah, again, knowing what you can do in your budget and then, confidently doing new moves is a skill. If you're making a B movie, you're not going to win an Oscar. How can you still impress people? How are people going to feel rewarded going through the motions yet again? I think that this movie solves this. More than even last week, I feel like this movie continues to reinvent and give us a happy ending that, I don't know, I enjoyed a whole lot more than Statham and Tyrese hopping a train to Mexico.
I have to say about this ending, you talk about The Dark Knight Rises. My go-to was Saw. Saw, this felt like the real Saw moment where you get the twist revealed and they do the flashbacks and show you all those moments that you missed. And
yeah,
to me, that just made me chuckle that I was having this Saw moment here at the end.
Yeah, we don't really need it.
So I'm not sure if you guys know this show. It's on like TNT or some other channel like that. It's called Leverage. It stars Timothy Hutton, where every episode for 44 minutes, they come in, they do like these Mission Impossible things, and they help the needy, kind of like the A-Team meets Mission Impossible. And at the end of it, after they, they pull the wool over people's eyes, then they go back and flash the things you missed to make everything make more sense. And that's what this felt like, because it's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of scheme. It kind of felt like an episode of Leverage to me. Leverage is the kind of show you can turn on in the background while you're doing a jigsaw puzzle or doing the dishes. You really don't need to give it your full attention to really understand what's going on. Nothing knocking the show. It's actually enjoyable. I've watched like 4 seasons of it while I was doing something else, but it certainly was on in the background, and this felt like that to me. So it was Mission Impossible plus Leverage plus Ocean's 11 plus Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
It was a whole bunch of stuff that I've seen before,
Sure.
and this movie isn't those things. This series has not been that before.
It's cute that they're trying to me, though. Like,
It's really cute. It's wonderful.
I want to celebrate that. I hear you maybe knocking it for that, but
I'm not enjoying it as much as you. I'm seeing it as a nice try, good for you. I see what you're doing. It's just not me. That's my point, is I'm appreciative of what they're trying to do. I'm just not enjoying it as much as you are, Stuart. That's all. I think it's not what I'm signed on for. Is it?
oh, it is. Or Death Race 3 straight to tape. This is you ought to feel very lucky
I'm so relieved it's this good.
that it's not much worse than this. If you have any doubts, let me walk you to the video game retrospective.
Do you know how many Children of the Corn films I've been through?
No, I understand what you're saying, and yes, I think we're spoiled. I think I called myself out earlier on it, but before I give my end synopsis, why don't we just go ahead and go there? Jacob Stewart, do you recommend Death Race 3 Inferno? Jacob.
Stuart kind of ruined it for me. I thought I was, once again, going to be the only one recommending one of these junky, straight-to-video Death Race films. But, Stuart, you're doing it too. But my recommend was going to be, because I think it's a qualified one. And, look, this is part 3 in this franchise. No one's going to start here. Do not start here. This is a bad film to start with. Do not watch this as a standalone. This, not recommend. It's not so entertaining that as a standalone, you'll enjoy this. But I do think if you watched Statham in 2008 and Luke Goss in that last film, and you're like, I like this universe. I like this series that they've set up, the scenarios. Yeah, I think you'll enjoy this one too. Now, Brock, you did recommend those two and you didn't, so I might be wrong. But that is who I would recommend this to. People like that want cool crashes, cool car races. They attempt a story. They don't try to do too much CGI that always just looks worse than cheap practical to me. They're trying their best. They got improvements here. They take the race out of the jail. They're on the streets. Like, to me, that is half the battle. Like, you've already won me over by taking this race onto new streets now. Like, even if they would have stayed in the US, wherever that was supposed to be, as long as you take it out on the road, like, boom, you got me there. Guys, this is not a good film. It's bad. It's got like plot holes. There's like edits where like they cut subplots out, but they left lines in. You're like, that doesn't make any sense. They got a love story here. Get rid of it. Like, yeah, do a fan edit, chop this thing up, but there's plenty of cool stuff to hold you over still. Like, not the best film, but it's a recommend. If you've liked these newer Death Race films, I think this one fits in. It's the weakest of them for me thus far. It's still, a junky, fun film that I'll give a green arrow to.
Stuart.
Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and repeat. My favorite one so far. That includes the Corman.
That's crazy.
That's amazing.
2001, the silly reboot, the Statham one, and the movie last week. This one understands what an exploitation film is. And I just keep waiting for the gas tank to go on E. I expected this one to be the one where I said, I'm not watching any more of this crap. Because usually by this point, we say that this is part 3, but this is really actually part 5. You know, we've done...
Yes.
Right.
5 Death Race movies so far. And yeah, maybe you don't want to watch a B picture. Maybe you just want to watch a A picture now because they are just junk. And that's only going to be so good. You're only going to get so high. You're still going to Jones for the really good thing that isn't coming for 3 more weeks. But yeah, one of the things Now Playing has taught me is try to appreciate the meal that I've been given rather than think about what I'd rather be eating. I love the South African locations. I love watching these cars on sand dunes and driving around cliffs. I love seeing hyenas on chains. I just think it's a more gonzo environment. I think it is the best prison we have seen. Period. That is part of why this one is my favorite. And yeah, I think fans of the genre are going to find that they haven't seen some of this done on such a low scale before. Maybe I hear that as a criticism.
Is that a selling point?
Yeah, but who thought that they would just suddenly pull an Ocean's 11 out of their ass here at the third part? Like, good for them. Even Luke Goss, I feel like he's growing into this part. He'll never be a good actor. I don't even think he's that good of a singer. But I do think that, like, his plot to get everyone free is kind of a fun thing to behold. I didn't think we would see such intricacies. I didn't think we'd see someone care so much about such a worthless project and make it fun for us. And so that's, again, the joy that I take is that nobody needed an interquel between straight-to-tape Death Wish 2 and a lousy Jason Statham movie, but somehow it manages to be better than both.
Well, look, I disagree that this is the best one in the series so far. I completely recognize this is the third one of this trilogy, and I do acknowledge that what you said, I've made that same argument, Stuart. When I come into a movie with the expectations and knowing where you are, and then understanding, okay, is this a good example of what this is? I think last week's movie spoiled me, because I do not watch direct-to-video. I don't even watch direct-to-Netflix if I can help it.
I could tell.
I don't like watching that shit. I'm on Now Playing, so I have watched a lot of movies I wouldn't normally watch because we're here and we find some gems in those crazy things. And this movie has a lot of good things going for it. It is still one of the best direct-to-video movies I've ever seen.
Thank you. Yes.
And it's still a bad movie.
Yes, it is both.
But the problem here for me is that it just kind of felt like leftovers. It kind of felt like we're running out of ideas. Why don't we try this? So I'm going to use some A-level movies as an example. Movies that you liked and movies you didn't like. So Jurassic Park 3. Most people don't like that one. I love it. It's a quick in and out, 90 minutes. Yeah. People eat dinosaurs. Get to the island. Who cares why? New dinosaur beast T-Rex. They did everything they need to do for a third movie. In and out, 90 minutes. Great. Little fun. Little taste of what you need. That's great. Toy Story 3. That's Toy Story 3. I mean, they made a prison break movie with toys. That's insanity. And it was wonderful. And you went along for that ride 100%. But I'd compare this more to like Lethal Weapon 3. Where it's like the same thing again. They keep trying to recreate this grid, and then they try to throw a few new surprises in there, and either you go with it or you don't. It's not Lethal Weapon 4 bad. It's like Lethal Weapon 3 kind of like rewarming. So what am I getting at here is that I did not like they're trying to do something they're not. They're trying to fight above their weight class. Even though they very much understand the kind of movie they're making. The ending for me really does not sit well at all for this reviewer.
You're mad they try to go smart.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Do not like that. I don't want that. I do not want that in my Death Race movie. What I want is everything up until they think they're being cute. And they don't need to be cute. It's a Death Race movie. You could kill Danny Trejo. You don't need him. But contrary to where you guys think I'm going with this, I'd be an idiot not to give this a mild recommend. It's one of those things that you watch it, you're gonna get your fix, as the words that Jacob used earlier. I just did not enjoy it as much as you two did. And I wanted to make sure we understand what we're doing here is that this is getting a weak recommend from me, but it still does so many things right, and it fits in perfectly for what the last two movies are doing. So, yeah, it's a weak recommend from me, but honestly, folks, direct-to-video sequel doesn't have to be this good. So, yeah, bravo.
Yeah, I said with Jason Statham, have a beer and watch that one. This one, have 2, maybe 3, but you're still going to enjoy it.
Yeah, you may not want to watch this kind of movie. That I get. I really probably don't myself. But if I'm here,
I would want to watch this.
And I've enjoyed something about where we've been. I guess I'm not really an optimist, but in this case, I do prefer to look at what's going well.
Yeah.
And I feel like this used the best of what it had to offer and minimized the things that it couldn't do.
Yeah. So like I mentioned Netflix earlier, like direct to Netflix movies, I always feel disappointed because of so many things that they just rushed out there with threw money at people in the movies. There's some good ones on there, so don't get me wrong. There are some great direct to Netflix comedy specials and movies and TV shows. But there's also, for every good one, there's like 3 bad ones, right? It's really hard to find the good ones on there. And do I want to give a movie a chance just because, say, like, I don't know, Chris Evans is there, Gal Gadot is in something?
I know what you're referencing. That's not a good movie.
Yeah, like there are some some fun to be had, but it's still necessarily maybe not the greatest movie, but you still have some fun on a Friday night. A Friday night popcorn movie is always a good idea. This one, I would say, is like a Friday late night movie. Like, I wouldn't sit down with my family, but if I'm up at 11:30 and I can't sleep, throw this one on, you'll have a blast if you've seen the last one. If you haven't seen the last one, don't go here first, as Jacob said. So yeah, it's a week recommend. I am just as surprised as you are that we are watching these movies and recommending them, and it's a pleasant surprise.
And Brock, you bring up the truth of the matter is that our luck cannot hold out. That for every good one that isn't horrible, there are 3 that are bad.
Yeah.
And we're reaching that point, right? Like, there's one left, and it's got Danny Glover in it. So I just have to feel like next week...
That's already a recommend, right?
Yeah, next week it's probably over, but it's also over. That's the good news, is we only have to do this one more time. And how bad will it be? I don't know. Join us next Tuesday, you'll find out. And if you do like really good movies, like things that are quality that critics liked and will entertain your family, maybe you should join us this Friday for the patron pick, which is a classic film charade. Couldn't be further away from Death Race. We're talking Audrey Hepburn, we're talking about Cary Grant, classic golden age Hollywood movie stars doing classic Hitchcockian things. It's not a Hitchcock movie, but it could have been. And if you like that kind of thing, if you need a reprieve from all of this car carnage, maybe charade is the perfect antidote.
I'm not sure if anyone ever mentioned Death Race and charade in the same sentence before.
And don't you now want to see those two get in a car and drive over things?
That's why you need to become a patron of Now Playing. We bring quality reviews to all kinds of films.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not afraid to go there, wherever there is.
So we will reconvene next week for Death Race 4. Damn, I love this game.
Well, America, there you have it.
Thank you for listening to this Now Playing Podcast movie review.
My pleasure.
Support from listeners like you keeps Now Playing Podcast on the air.
What'd you expect? Another pretty face?
You can donate directly by tapping the support button at nowplayingpodcast.com.
It's time for action.
You can also compare notes with us on Letterboxd. Go to letterboxd.com/nowplaying to see what our hosts are watching when we're not recording podcasts. And follow Now Playing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our YouTube channel.
Why can't they see me as I see myself? A kind, gentle soul imprisoned by abs of steel.
Now Playing Podcast is produced by Arnie Carvalho.
He moves them, inspires them.
Associate produced by Jason Latham.
You're very good at what you do, and I'm very good at what I do.
Now Playing is edited by Heath, Santiago, and Arnie.
Took the best, made it better.
Now Playing credits read by Brock.
I swear by St. Dwayne the Rock Johnson, I will slap that sinful tramp!
The opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the individual hosts and may not reflect the views of Venganza Media Incorporated.
If you want to drive again next year, Mr. Viterbo, you'll keep those opinions to yourself.
Venganza Media Incorporated is not affiliated with, and this podcast has not been prepared, approved, or licensed by any entity that created the film analyzed herein.
Don't talk to the other drivers. Frank never did. Part of the mystique. Let the mask do the work.
All movie clips and music included in this podcast are the intellectual property of their respective copyright holders. They are included here for the purpose of review, and no infringement is intended.
You got that right.
Now Playing is a Venganza Media production, copyright 2024, and no part of this show may be reproduced, repurposed, or redistributed without the written permission of Venganza Media Incorporated. All rights reserved.
Good night, Mr. Frankenstein.